Hello everyone, you're watching SK Live. I'm your host Indraneel Basu. Today we are joined by Mr. Lashman Shivaramakrishnan. Welcome Shiva sir to SK Live. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm doing all right. Under the circumstances, I've been fine. No complaints about not going out because Chennai is very, very hot at the moment. So I don't mind staying indoors and staying safe.
Shiva sir, when you started, I remember I was hearing stories about you. You were around about 12 years old when you took your first 7 wicket haul in a school game. I mean, you got into getting performing as a player at that early age. Talk us through about that phase of your life.
Yeah, I think from the age of 10 to 12, I played a lot of tennis ball cricket. Being the youngest in the colony, I was made to bowl. So I didn't get an opportunity to bat. So I was made to bowl. So I chose to bowl leg spin because with the tennis ball, it was much easier to turn the leg spinners more than the off spinners. So I chose to bowl leg spin. And by the age of 12, I just started playing cricket with cricket ball. And I had to switch schools. I was earlier in a school called National English School and then went to Vidya Mandir. Switched to Vidya Mandir mainly because Vidya Mandir had a cricket team and they were encouraging cricket. And that was my first season with the cricket ball. I still remember that game because Akbar Ibrahim, the Formula One driver, now he was playing for Don Bosco at that point in time. He was a very good cricketer himself. Vidya Mandir, the school that I played for, we got bowled out for 80. And Don Bosco well, one of the champion teams at that point of time. They were really, really confident of winning it. In fact, there were 50 for all outs and all out for less than 60. I got 10 overs, 8 maidens, 2 runs, and 7 wickets. So the game just turned around in just a few moments and we won the game. And that is one of the first times that Vidya Mandir was beating a more fancied side. And 7 for 2 got me headlines, and people started to notice me thereafter.
You were as young as 15 when you were picked for under 19 India, and Ravi Shastri was your captain. I mean, tell us of those days. I mean, you remember? I mean, you have any good memories from those days when you went to play in Sri Lanka and things like that?
Very, very fond memories. I mean, under 19 days were brilliant because Bharat Arun, myself, Ravi Shastri, all of us were in that team. And there was Navjot Singh Sidhu, there was Maninder Singh. So there were a lot of cricketers in that particular India under 19 team that went on to play for India. But Ravi, being the leader, the captain that he was, always stood by example. And always, I thought he was a fine captain because we not only had a very good personal relationship, we also had a good relationship as a bowler captain. So Ravi made good use of me. He would always tell me beforehand which situation he's going to use me. And, at that point in time when we went to Sri Lanka, like you mentioned, we had to play against Arvind De Silva, Arjuna Ranatunga, who were not known at that point of time, but they were terrific players who spin bowling. So bowling to them was a fine experience. And Ravi used to give me long spells of bowling and bowling to left-right combination like Arvind De Silva and Arjuna Ranatunga. And getting wickets in Sri Lanka made me immensely happy and started to gain confidence at that point of time. Because when you're representing India at any level, there is a bit of pressure on you. And I was able to handle it properly at the age of 15.
And at the age of 17 years, 118 days, you played for India. That was so young, and you were probably the youngest at that point of time. So, what was Shiva sir then?
Well, a lot of excitement when I was to play the test match, but little did I realize that that test match was at St. John's, Antigua. And Antigua, if you take a look at the test match scorecards, there are big, big runs scored. It's a batting duty, very flat pitch. And if I had to play against that West Indies team, I think that particular West Indies team probably will be the all-time greatest team. If you look at Gordon Greenidge, Jessamine Haynes, then you look at Larry Gomes, and you look at Viv Richards, Clive Lloyd, Jeffrey Dujon, you had Gus Logie playing that particular match. The batting lineup was terrific and the bowling even better. You had Michael Holding, Joel Garner, Malcolm Marshall, and Andy Roberts. And Winston Davis played that particular test match. So I thought it was one of the best teams ever in terms of batting, bowling, and they were very athletic and fit. So they were a fantastic team. I bowled 25 overs, none for 95. There were a couple of chances that were missed. But playing against those people on a flat deck was very, very, very difficult. But there was the excitement. As a 17-year-old, as the youngest to play for India, it was a big occasion for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And you know the kind of bowling you had. I mean, you could flight the ball, you can dip the ball so sharply. You had all the tricks, and I remember you could fool the batsman so easily because of your the ball would dip so sharply. I mean, tell us about those skills you had as a bowler.
Well, it all came naturally to me. Even when I started playing tennis ball cricket, it all came very naturally to me. Because I was on the shorter side at that point of time, I had to flight the ball to be able to get a decent enough trajectory. And even today, I tell spinners, the higher the trajectory, you have to spin the ball more. Spin is in the air, turn is off the pitch. So when you flight the ball, you've got to make sure that you spin it extra. Only then the ball will dip on the batsman. If you don't spin it enough, the ball's not going to dip on the batsman. In fact, I could turn the ball on any pitch. I found it very difficult to bowl the straighter ones. I could turn the leg breaks, I could turn the googlies, and I was a natural spinner of the cricket ball. And that point of time, I was not technically aware of what is right and what is wrong. It just came naturally to me.
I mean, you started off so young and you played for such a short time. And what exactly went wrong, Srivastava? I mean, you could have the kind of talent you had, you could have played on and on for India. What exactly went wrong?
That's why I finished the last answer in that particular manner, because I was so young. I didn't know about the biomechanics and the technicalities of the bowling, and because it came naturally to me, and that was a growing age. From the age of 15 to age of 17, 18, I had grown about 2 inches. So 2 inches taller, which means my point of release had to be different, which I didn't know then. My point of release still remained the same despite being 2 inches taller, which meant I was bowling a lot of full tosses. And I had to make the adjustment in the point of release. But at that point of time, there was nobody to analyze and tell me that I needed to change my point of release. I just kept doing whatever I was doing, bowling a lot of full tosses. And when you do that over a period of time, it does become a habit. And once it becomes a habit, you start to lose confidence. When you lose confidence, the captain loses confidence in you. And it's a cycle that goes on. But I was contributing with the bat. Nobody realizes right from my under 15 days, I was contributing a lot with the bat. And in fact, for Tamil Nadu, when I was not bowling too well and I was still getting runs, the year we won Ranji Trophy in 1987-88, I was the second top scorer for Tamil Nadu. I got 3 centuries, but I still got dropped. But the point that I want to make, and the question that you asked me was, I grew taller and I didn't make the adjustment in the point of release. All this I realize now because after 20 years of commentary, you start to analyze the slow motions, the technicalities, and the biomechanics of a spinner. Now I do realize that I have to have made that adjustment, but we didn't have the luxury of a bowling coach. We didn't have the luxury of watching our videos and making the necessary correction. But I did work hard, but I did all the wrong things in terms of technically wrong things. And over a period of time, it became a habit, and the confidence that I lost became very hard to regain.
But you still hit the rock bottom and came up with your batting. You kept batting kept playing domestic cricket and was part of Tamil Nadu team for a long time, contributing massively. So that was a hallmark of a good fighter.
See, that is one thing that I really feel bad because even if you take a look at if you go into those cricket websites and take a look at the scores, my batting scores, right from my under 15 days, I've got hundreds. I've got hundreds in under 15 in a 30 over game. And I've got runs consistently in each and every match that I played, even for my school, for my state, for my zone. So I was never considered an all-rounder. I was always considered a leg spinner because my bowling was probably more special than my batting. But I always made a contribution with the bat. But when it came to the Ranji Trophy side, the last time Tamil Nadu won Ranji Trophy was in 1987-88. And that time I came good with the bat, but I got dropped from the state side thereafter. In fact, I got dropped from my club side. 87 World Cup I played, but in 87, after winning the Ranji Trophy, I was dropped from the Ranji Trophy side. Then I was dropped from the club that I was playing for. So how could I make a comeback? If I did not play club cricket, league cricket, how can I make a comeback into the Tamil Nadu team? So it became more and more difficult, and I had to face a lot of obstacles. And all that is gone by now. I've come through that and had a good stint as a commentator. I'm still connected to the game. I'm still friendly with a lot of journalists. In fact, we all get together and chat whenever we are in Delhi. And I like to maintain good relationship. I like to talk to people about cricket because different people have different perspectives, and thoroughly want to enjoy myself staying connected with the game.
And no regrets. No regrets at all.
No point in regretting because I would have loved to have played more test matches. I mean, I've done 20 years of commentary. I would have loved to play for 20 years and not do any commentary at all. But that's part and parcel of my life. But if I had a long career, if I did have a long career, looking at the positive side of it, there was a turbulent period that Indian cricket went through. And I might have been a part of that side if I had a longer career. I mean, well, I played my last test match in 1986 in Sydney. But if I, let's say, if I played in the 90s, India went through a turbulent time. And luckily enough, I wasn't part of the team. I wasn't part of the turbulent times, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, I mean, Ravi Shastri is, of course, we know he's a great man manager. He's been a great coach, great motivator. But somewhere down the line from outside, we get that feeling that he's slightly overpowered because you have a very robust captain in Virat Kohli in the team. Is it the case like that over there? I mean,
no, with Ravi Shastri, the problem that people, a lot of people don't like him is because what you see is what you get. He's not the kind of person who's going to be diplomatic. He wants to be diplomatic, so you like him. He, I mean, leads his life the way that he wants to. And he and Virat have had a really good relationship. Even when Anil Kumble was the coach, with Virat Kohli had a problem. I've seen Virat calling up Ravi Shastri and talking to him. There are certain people that you like and that you trust. When you trust somebody, you open out and talk to them about what your situation is and if you have any problems or if you need to improve in any other aspect of the game. I still remember, I think it was the England series in India when Ravi and me were coming back from the game to the hotel in the same car. Virat Kohli sent a message and there was exchanges of messages about how England were bowling negative. They were going negative offside, wide outside the off stump, wide outside the off stump, waiting for Virat Kohli to chase. But Virat messaged Ravi Shastri and Ravi said to him, now it's your thing. You change your stance. You come to a middle off stump stance and try and get closer to the ball. If not, try and lead those deliveries and get them tired. Let them get tired bowling wide outside off stump. Once they are tired, at some point in time, they've got to look to get you out. They'll start bowling straight and then you can score runs of them. So they've exchanged a lot of information amongst themselves. They are very close, but not, when I say very close, is they are very frank with each other. If Ravi finds that Virat has a problem, he would tell him straight away. If Virat finds that he needs to do or something needs to be done about something else, they have a frank conversation. And I think they have a great relationship in coach and captain. I think they are doing a fantastic job for India. Virat is leading from the front. Ravi is always there to support the players. I mean, even somebody like an Amol Mazumdar mentioned on social media a few days back. Amol Mazumdar's first season with Mumbai, Ravi was the captain and they went out to win the Ranji Trophy. So Ravi was a fantastic motivator. And I can give you one example because before the Bombay test against England, we were playing a side game, India under 25 versus England in Ahmedabad. And I had to get wickets in that match to get picked for the Indian team for the first test match in Mumbai, 1984-85. So this particular India under 25 versus England match was taking place in Ahmedabad. And Ravi told me that, listen, I will give you just one spell in the first innings, a brief spell to get into the match, get a feel of things. And he gave me about 8 over spell. I got one wicket, the wicket of Richard Ellison. Then he took me off the attack. Then he told me, second innings, you're coming on first change and you're bowling from one end non-stop. And that's exactly what we did. In fact, we beat England under 3 days. Second innings on day 3, he gave me the ball. I bowled a long spell. I think I bowled 24 overs on the trot, giving about 25, 26 runs and getting 4 wickets. So that's the way Ravi is. I mean, he tells you beforehand what he expects from you. He tells you beforehand how he is going to go about things. And the second innings, that spell that he gave me the ball and set a field. And he said, if you want to make an adjustment, please go ahead and make the necessary field adjustments because as a bowler, you know what you're doing and do exactly that. So he had full confidence in me. He gave me the opportunity to bowl in the second innings for a long spell. I got the wickets and got picked for the Mumbai test.
So which England tour are you talking about? When Virat was SMSing, texting Ravi Shastri, and you were with
Yeah,
him?
when England were in India, they were bowling to Virat Kohli wide outside the off stump, hoping that he'll chase the ball away, play away from the body and get an outside edge. Because when India toured England, Virat was out a lot, caught in the slips of Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad. So they were hoping that because they can't get that kind of movement in India, they were making sure that Virat doesn't get enough ball onto the bat. If you bowl straight to Virat and he gets bat to ball, then he feels a lot more confidence and a lot more secure and starts scoring runs. He's a very busy player. So to irritate him, to make him feel desperate, they went wide outside off stump where Virat couldn't reach it. And in Test match cricket, you don't have this wides. So they were bowling far outside the off stump, and Virat got worked up by it. But then it was a brief period that he was batting in that particular evening. He had to bat about 20 minutes or maybe a half an hour. He controlled himself, and then the exchange of messages took place in the evening. And Ravi put a lot of sense onto Virat, said, and the next day, Virat got a really big one.
And which year was this?
This must have been, when Ravi was doing commentary, which means apparently before he took up the coach's job. So just before that.
So they had a rapport. They had a rapport before Ravi Shastri was the coach of the Indian.
They've always had a good understanding because Ravi, after Duncan Fletcher, he took over as the director of the Indian cricket team. And Virat was one of the youngsters at that point of time. And Ravi likes to spend a lot of time with the youngsters. So he would obviously spend a lot of time with Virat when he took over as director in England after Duncan Fletcher had to leave. And from that point of time, then Ravi had a break, then he came back into commentary. And this would have happened at that point of time. I think the last time England came to India for a Test match series, that's the time this would have happened.